Alright, let's see how long it takes before I just start ragging on capitalism. Today we're going to cover some of the most brain-dead credit card swipes of my early 20s because I did turn a quarter of a century old, so now I can look back at sort of the first part of my 20s with both horror and delight. I'm not alone in making bad decisions in my 20s. I see a lot of my non-men peers on YouTube doing this video. I honestly wish we saw more men doing this video on YouTube. Canonically, I feel like women get the brunt of the criticism and judgment on how we spend our money, like especially women of color. I did see Graham Stephan do this video for his part, but I'm sure his purchases were like a few zeros away from the amount I've spent on my dumb purchases. In any case, I'm doing something a little bit unhinged and I'm getting a My Preppy Style tattoo if I hit 10K on Instagram this year. That may or may not turn into one of my best or worst purchases of 2021. So if you want to support that behavior, go ahead and follow me on Instagram. It's just at Katherout. I'll have it linked in the description as well. Just wanted to put that out there if you want to join me on that quest. First up, it's a big oof, and that is my Burberry trench coat. Here's the dealio. My view of success and my definition of success has like radically transformed from the time I was like 17 to now, and for a long time, like success and my vision board for like what a self-possessed independent lifestyle would look like included a Burberry trench coat. Like I just always wanted one. It was the My Preppy Style vision. I just thought that like if I got to a point where I could afford a Burberry trench coat, then I would have like made it. And that moment came the summer of 2018. This is gonna be the most privileged bullshit story you've ever heard, so just like gear up. I was in Hawaii with my two best friends. We were strolling around Honolulu. We came across a Burberry store, and there's no sales tax in Hawaii. There's also another deal they have going on where there's an extra 10% off at the Burberry there. So I was like, holy shit, like the stars have aligned. Like I'd been looking at this for like years and years and years, right? Like this was a long-term goal. It wasn't just like a split decision. But the moment came and I was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it now. I'll never get it for cheaper. The exact one I had wanted was actually going out of inventory that season. So it was like one of the last two there. I tried on different sizes. I'll put some photos in here. I was wearing like yoga pants and shoes, and the store associate definitely did not think that like I was actually a serious customer, but I walked out of there with the coat for a grand total of, I wanna say, like $1,567, like some insane amount. Like that's a month's fucking rent that I spent on a trench coat that I could have gotten from J. Crew, which is still expensive, for like $300. But it was knowing that I owned Burberry that I thought would make me feel a renewed sense of confidence. And here's what I'll say is that I learned very quickly that like I don't like participating in flex culture, specifically like designer shit. Like I felt really uncomfortable when I wore the coat to work for the first time and like took it off and you could see the plaid lining. Like I found myself like hiding the lining of the coat wherever I went because I felt very class conscious. And like, yeah, that's rooted in class privilege. Like I felt like, oh shit, like I am flexing my socioeconomic status over people needlessly. Like I just didn't need to do that. I felt uncomfortable like fully wearing it. And then of course there's the whole thing that when you buy something so expensive, you actually tend to use it less because you know that replacing it would put you out another, you know, what is that? 4 figures. So I took the bus to work, but like I wouldn't wear it on the bus. I had to like fold it in my lap. I wouldn't like travel with it. I wouldn't wear it if I was going anywhere I thought I would sit down. Like you can imagine how impractical this is to own a coat that you feel as though you cannot sit down in. Very quickly I felt ridiculous owning this piece. Do I still get wear out of it? Do I like the way it looks? Certainly. It's a timeless coat. It'll never go out of style. But over time I realized like, although it is very flattering when I wear it, I can't like raise my arms over my head in it. So the mobility aspect is super limited too. Like there are just so many things wrong with this. Like there's definitely a lesson to be learned here. If every single one of these lists includes a designer item, it may not be all that hype to get them, you know? Like maybe we should stop glorifying them as much because we rarely get the cost per wear out of them. And that's what I'm saying. Like if I had just gone to J. Crew and gotten a jacket for like still a lot of money, like $200 or $300, I could have gotten like a much lower cost per wear out of it rather than this very expensive thing that I barely ever wear because I'm so scared of like ripping it or staining it or damaging it in any way, which is just dumb. Number 2. Bestie, you're not gonna wanna hear this. My AirPod Pros. Actually, it's AirPods Pro, which I can imagine a team of like 7 people spent probably like 6 weeks in a boardroom somewhere in Cupertino, like figuring out if they were gonna call them AirPod Pros or AirPods Pro, and I can tell you right now, they made the wrong decision. Maybe it's grammatically correct, but it sounds horrible, and to me, and you're not gonna wanna hear this, AirPods Pro, see how stupid that sounds, are proof that profit-based innovation does not actually produce the best goods for you and me. Like, if you will all entertain a little anti-capitalist rant for a minute here, here's what I'll say. Like, the original AirPods were fine. They were great. The only material change that really needed to happen was to improve the battery quality and the longevity before they kind of just like tap out. If Apple like truly cared about what's good for us and not just what's good for their profit margins, they would have made those tweaks and then marked it up 10 or 15% and then called it a day. But no, what did they do instead? They had to redesign the entire shape, give you 3 different size attachments, like add all these different controls on the side, like make it switch between your laptop and your phone sporadically 19 times a day. And I know what I sound like. I sound like this yuppie, spoiled girl complaining about her very bougie $150 Bluetooth headphones that are very much a signal of your finances. Totally get that. I'm not discounting that. I hear you. But I do think these are a fun little microcosm of showing us that like Apple is just following the like textbook capitalism sales play. And when I say textbook, I mean textbook. Like, do you guys remember in college, every year, Pearson and the publishers of these textbooks would come out with a new version, even though our material understanding of Newton's laws, of gravity, of physics have not changed from 2017 to 2018. Like, those haven't changed in centuries, but these publishers feel the need to like add one paragraph, change the font, reformat some shit, package that up and tell us that we need to buy a whole new version of the textbook instead of buying a used one from 4 years ago for $20. Because they're preying on our like fear as students that we won't be able to perform well enough if we don't have like all the up-to-date information. Like, that's the textbook sales plays. It's like, as consumers, like, we don't need them to do that. That's not benefiting us whatsoever. It's just benefiting their profits. It's the only reason they're doing it. They're not motivated by like what we actually need. It's just what they need. So that's what AirPods Pro represent to me. This one is, yeah, my $500 hair balayage. So I paid $500 for just a color, like not a cut, not a treatment, like just the color, the foil, and the labor. And to be sure, like, my hairstylist did a phenomenal job. It looked wonderful. I thought it looked great. I'll put some photos in. This is no shade to her whatsoever. And the reason why it costs so much is mainly just because the cost of labor in the Bay Area is so high, because to afford rent here, like, you need to be paid a living wage, you know? Like, and I have no problem paying someone a living wage to do my hair. In fact, I'm happy to do that and I want to do that. I don't want to be gouging somebody to get my hair done, but like, a lot of the cost just goes into like the super high rent of the salon. That said, I still sensed that the cost was inflated, especially now that I go to a place where I can get my cut and my color done for no more than $150. And for sure, it's not as fancy. They don't serve me rose-infused water, but they get the job done. And it may not always look just like the photo I bring to them, but it serves me well enough. Like, I've never had any hate comments about how horrible my hair looks, so it clearly wasn't that big of a sacrifice to jump down. Fourth up, we got Barry's classes, core power classes, any type of high intensity workout class. This one's a little bit tricky to talk about. It is fitness related content, so if that type of content typically makes you feel icky, I'll put the timestamp here for you to skip this one. So I have never liked working out. It makes me think that I'm broken because like cerebrally I know that long term moving my body is good for me. It will help me prevent a lot of the health issues that my family members have struggled with. But in the short term, I just don't feel any sort of runner's high. I don't feel a rush of endorphins during or after the workout when I'm at the gym. Maybe I do when I get to the top of the mountain or to the alpine lake view or to the waterfall when I'm hiking, like when I'm in the outdoors. I definitely do feel a nice shot of dopamine in those moments, but on the Stairmaster, not so much. So I don't really know what I was trying to do when I started going to these like berries workout classes, core power. And if you're unfamiliar, they're basically like 45 to 60-minute group workout classes. You all head into one room together. They're very challenging throughout. There's not much time for breaks or rest. It's a full hour of nonstop working out. And while they do say that they'll make accommodations for you if you have injuries or any sort of like needs, unbeknownst to me, I was struggling with a chronic illness that I was unaware of at the time that I was going to these classes. So almost every single class, midway in, I would start to see spots, my vision would start to black out, and I felt like I was going to faint, and I would have to leave the room, which was often heated, which didn't help, and like sit in the bathroom for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then that would just further guilt spiral me because I was like, shit, not only am I not fit enough to be in these classes, but now I'm wasting my money because I'm not even getting the workout. But the reason I kept going is because I was convincing myself that like I was the kind of person that could do these classes, and also it was like so culturally significant. Like these classes held so much like social capital that I was like, I should enjoy these. Like everybody's enjoying these. Why am I just like feeling so anxious about this? And they actually have a term at Barry's that they coined of like, colloquially people just call it Barry scaries, like Sunday scaries, but for like the afternoon or the morning before your Barry's class that you signed up for. Like you'll feel really nervous about this thing that you have to do. And I don't know about you, dog, but like I don't really need any more fear, anxiety, stress associated with exercise. It's already like a sensitive enough topic for most of us. So especially when I'm paying to do it and it's not like a free hike or like a free YouTube class, you know, like I'm literally paying to suffer. Like I don't really want that. So I think this year of literally not being able to go to any of those classes has been really clarifying for me and helped me distinguish between like what I actually want to do in terms of my physical moving my body routine and what I felt like I had to do. The fifth one is going to seem so out of character based on like what I'm wearing today, and it's a spray tan. Back when I was emerging from my preppy style cocoon, like I was in my transitionary phase, I was going to Europe, had a vacation planned, had no intention of getting a spray tan, but all the girlies I was working with before they'd head off on their, you know, beach vacation, tropical vacation, were all booking their spray tan appointments and like getting those done. And I was like, oh shit, like what memo did I miss? Like I've literally never gotten a spray tan in my life. If spray tans make you feel good about your body, your gender, your self-expression, power to you, baby. I am just here to claim that I regret doing this because I never actually wanted to. And even beyond just the skin politics of it all, it only looked good for like a day on this vacation, and then a patch like right up here rubbed off. I think because the spray tan was like too thick because I didn't know what I was doing, so I had her do like many layers because I was worried about her going too dark too quick. And so a patch rubbed off. We had to make like an emergency stop into the Barcelona Sephora to like pick up what I fashioned together as like an emergency spray tan kit. And that didn't really work out. I ended up just kind of like rubbing the rest of it off throughout the vacation. So I had to strategically hide the situation that was going on in a lot of those photos. But it just isn't my scene. That's that on that. Sixth, I want to say, and I'm going to keep this one short because it's not a mistake I think many of you would ever make or even need to learn from. And that are my abundance of Adidas Ultra Boosts. I'm not going to scapegoat anybody here, but like this was my ex's influence. I love the shoe. It feels like you're walking on a cloud. They're made out of like upcycled tires, but did I need like 3 colorways of the exact same style of shoe? No. I'm not a hype beast boy. Realistically, like of the 3 pairs I own, 2 of them just kind of got pushed back further and further under my bed, and I never really missed them. I end up just wearing these gray pair most of the time because like these realistically match most things. And also like if you're working out, like do you really even need to match? Like running shoes is just one type of product that's just kind of ridiculous to have the same thing in multiple colors. Did you make any similar mistakes as I did? If so, leave those down below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you'd like to support me and my channel. That goes a long way. If you've kind of seen me around on YouTube but never subscribed, I invite you to click that red button. It looks a lot prettier when it's gray. I will see you all next time. Thanks so much for watching, and Katherout.